You don't have an income problem. You have a structure problem. Because there are people making $50,000 a year building wealth. And there are people making $150,000 a year still living paycheck to paycheck. And if that sounds surprising, it really shouldn't. Because income alone doesn't create wealth. Welcome to Advisors Are Us podcast, where we help you prepare for the unexpected, plan strong, and live free. Now, let's talk about something that almost everyone believes at some point. If I just made more money, everything would be easier. And to be fair, that makes sense. More income does create more opportunity. It gives you more options. It gives you more breathing room. And here's the part most people don't realize. If there's no structure behind your money, more income doesn't fix the problem. It actually amplifies it. Let me explain what I meant by that. When someone starts making more money, something very natural happens. Their life starts to upgrade. They get a better car. They move into a better place. They eat out more often. They add subscriptions, conveniences, little upgrades that make life feel better. And none of this feels wrong. In fact, it feels deserved. You worked harder. You're earning more. So naturally, you want to enjoy that. But here's where the problem starts. As income increases, expenses quietly follow. And before you even realize it, the gap between what you earn and what you keep never actually grows. This is what we call lifestyle creep. And it doesn't feel dangerous when it's happening. Because it's not one big decision. It's a series of small ones, little upgrades, small comforts, gradual changes. Until one day, you look at your situation and realize, I'm making more money, but I don't feel any further ahead. And that brings us to one of the most important shifts you can make. Wealth is not what you make. Wealth is what you keep and what you grow. That's it. It's not your salary. It's not your hourly rate. It's not your commission. It's what actually stays with you and what you build from that. Now, I've seen this played out many times. People who on the surface look like they're doing very well. Good income, nice lifestyle, everything seems in place. But when we actually sit down and do the numbers, there's no consistent savings, no structured investing, no emergency buffer, no long-term plan. Just income coming in and going right back out. And here's why that's a problem. Because income is active. It depends on your ability to work, your job, your time, your health. So if something changes, even temporarily, that income can stop. And if there's nothing built behind it, everything else becomes vulnerable. That's why structure matters. Before we even talk about investing or growing wealth, you need a foundation. And this is where most people skip steps because investing sounds exciting, growth sounds exciting, but structure? That sounds boring. But here's the truth. Without structure, there's no growth. You need to understand your cash flow. You need to know what's coming in and what's going out. You need to have a buffer. Something in place so that if life happens, and it will, you're not starting from zero. And most importantly, you need consistency. But here's the truth. Without structure, there's no growth. You need to understand your cash flow, and you need to know what's coming in and what's going out. You need a buffer, something in place so that if life happens, and guaranteed it will, you're not starting from zero. And most importantly, you need consistency because wealth is not built in big moments. It's built in small, repeated actions over time. And here's the concept I want you to really hold on to. Wealth is built in the gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap is everything. And here's where savings comes from. That's where investing comes from. That's where opportunity comes from. Not from the income itself, but from what's left after. And this is where a lot of people get it wrong. They chase higher incomes instead of fixing the gap. They invest before they have a foundation. They increase their lifestyle too quickly. They don't have a long-term plan. And then they wonder why nothing changes. So here's the shift I want you to make. Stop asking, how do I make more money? And start asking, how do I manage and grow what I already make? Because once you can do that, everything changes. If someone is making good money right now and they still feel stressed, still feel behind, still feels unsure, that's not an income issue. That's a structure issue. So where do you start? You start with awareness. You understand your cash flow. You identify where your money is growing. You find the leaks. You build a buffer. You create consistency. And then, once that's in place, you start looking at growth, not the other way around. Because wealth is not built overnight. It's built through consistency, through structure, through discipline, not through big wins, not through luck, and not through timing the market. So let's bring this back to the beginning. You don't need more income to start building wealth. You need structure. Because once structure is in place, savings becomes easier, investing becomes easier, planning becomes easier, and decision making becomes clearer. If you're making good money but not seeing progress, it's not your income, it's your structure. Fix the structure and you change everything. Thank you for listening to episode 3. I'm Philip Villanueva, preparing for the unexpected. Plan strong, live free.